Hey YouTube, this is Trains and Destinations, and in today's video I am proud to do this laptop unboxing. Now as you can see, this is an Acer, but specifically this is the Acer Aspire 5 2020 edition. And what makes this laptop special is that this one does have here, it has the AMD Ryzen 5 4500U. So of course that's the brand new processor from AMD, a full 6-core processor along with very impressive integrated graphics. So again, the Ryzen 5 4500U just came out, one of the hottest laptop processors out right now. I was very lucky to pick up this laptop for under $500 because right now a lot of these laptops with this processor are being massively marked up. They're not available, so I was lucky to get this one. Along with that, it has 8 gigs of RAM as well as a 512 gig SSD, so a lot of storage there. 48 watt hour battery, which is okay. The only downside though is the display. So this has only a 15.6 inch 720p display. You can get this with a 1080p display, but this particular one has the base 720p display. Now in terms of the price, I did get this from eBay, but brand new this laptop runs $520. If you get one with the 1080p display, it is, I believe, $570. So it's really up to you. If you really want this laptop, it's really up to you whether you want to either save $50, but you only get a 1366 by 768 display, or you go ahead, spend the extra $50 to get that 1080p display. But anyway, the box itself is extremely simple. Really nothing to say here. All right, so let's go ahead and open it up. Again, I did get this from eBay, so anyway. So as you can see, it's a very standard unboxing. It should be noted that the Aspire line is essentially Acer's essentially budget line of laptops. Their main line, their budget line, is equivalent to a Lenovo IdeaPad or the HP Pavilion series. So you're not going to get any sort of fancy unboxing experience with this thing, you know. In Acer's lineup, the Aspire is their lowest end line, and then the Swift line is above the Aspire line, essentially. And then, of course, you got your Nitro gaming laptops. So, anyway, let's start out first with the charger. It is a 2-piece charger, as you can see. Got your tiny little, it's hard to see, but you do got a tiny little barrel plug type connector. But yeah, it's a 2-piece charger, you know, very typical. You know, most Acers use this sort of charger. It's pretty generic. But then we'll take the laptop out. Let's see what else we get. So we do get this little bracket, and from what I understand, this is a hard drive bracket. So this laptop does have a 512 gig SSD, but I believe there is space inside the laptop to install a hard drive. And so Acer does allow you to they do allow you to put in a hard drive. So they give you the bracket, you can open up the laptop, throw this in here, throw in a hard drive, and there you go. You got extra storage. But again, this does have a 0.5 terabyte SSD, so I really doubt that that's going to be needed. And then, of course, we get our little setup guide for the Acer Aspire 5. And then we get, of course, you know, FCC info. We get our our warranty and support guide, and that's about it. So it's pretty much a typical laptop unboxing. So let's go ahead and look at the laptop itself. So again, this laptop is $520 on Acer's website. Essentially one of the cheapest laptops you can buy with the AMD Ryzen 5 4500U. You know, so if you really want this processor and the cheapest laptop possible, this essentially is your best bet. And here you go. So here it is. Here is the laptop itself. So as you can see, it is all black. As you can see, it is an all black laptop. Depending on what model you get the Aspire 5, you can either get it in black or silver. This one is black. As you can see, we still even got the plastic over top the Acer logo. I did get this open box on eBay. It's a very lucky find, I gotta say. I won't get into details of how I won it or how much I won it for, but again, very lucky. Now, what does make this laptop unique is that the lid is aluminum. So this is an aluminum lid. That's always nice to see. The rest of the body, though, is plastic. So aluminum lid, plastic body. Just for a comparison, I do own an Acer Aspire 5 Slim right here. And pretty much the same deal. You got an aluminum lid, but the rest of the body is made out of plastic. Now you can see that when I look at the two Aspire 5s, there are a little different, especially when you look at the hinge design. You know, this Acer has a little hinge on either side, as you can see, whereas this Acer, the newer one, because that was a 2019, this 2020 model does have a sort of full-length hinge. So they essentially are quite similar in terms of the design, but there are a few subtle differences. All right, so let's go ahead and let's look over the port selection and see what we got here. So on the left-hand side of the laptop, we got our barrel plug connector, we got Ethernet, we got HDMI, two USB 3.0 ports, and a USB Type-C. So that's very nice to see. On the right-hand side of the laptop, though, you got your Kensington lock, a USB port, and a headphone jack. So yeah, this laptop does not come with an SD card reader, which I think is pretty stupid because, I mean, you have all of this space here, all of this space, and yet no SD card reader. Definitely a cost-cutting measure. I think it's pretty stupid, but, you know, it is more of a budget laptop, so whatever. You can see on the back of the laptop, you got a pretty decent intake here. You can see your copper heat pipe and your fan there. So, and your exhaust is right here. So this laptop, I think, will have no problem staying cool, especially under load. And this particular one was made in May of 2020. So let's go ahead and open her up. So this is what the laptop does look like when you do open it up. It's a very basic design. I mean, I would dare to say that this is pretty generic. Now, you do have very thin bezels, though. So in a pretty 2020 fashion, you do have yourself, you know, thin bezels. You also have a very typical Acer keyboard. This basic keyboard, Acer has been using this for years, essentially. Now, unfortunately, there is no backlighting. So some of these Aspires come with a backlit keyboard. Again, this is a base model. It does have that Ryzen 5, but this is essentially the cheapest one you can get with this processor. So there is no backlit keyboard. So I'm assuming that if you get the version for $50 more that has the 1080p display, that'll more than likely include the backlit keyboard. But again, the keyboard itself is typical Acer. So if you've used any Acer in recent years, you know, they're all basically the same. They don't make the best keyboards in the world, but they are quite decent. What's also quite decent is this trackpad. So as you can see, the trackpad makes a nice click. It's a pretty big size. It covers most of the area here, so I do like seeing that. You got your AMD stickers off to the left, and on the right-hand side, it just tells you some little, you know, specs for this laptop. So it does say it's a thin design, aluminum top cover, narrow bezels. It does have 802.11 AC Wi-Fi. So that might actually be another downside of this laptop. And yeah, so this is an so this laptop does not have Wi-Fi 6 on it. So this is a Wi-Fi 5 laptop. So again, this is the base model of this Aspire 5. So as you can see, that's where you lose out. You do not get Wi-Fi 6, you do not get a 1080p display, and you do not get a backlit keyboard. Now, to me, that's not a huge deal, but, you know, just, you know, pointing that out there. Okay, so I think we've talked about everything that needs to be talked about, so let's go ahead and turn it on. Okay, so we are starting up. From first appearances, the screen actually doesn't look too bad, I would say. Again, it's only a 1366 by 768 display, but it doesn't really look too bad. And there we go. This is what the display looks like, and honestly, again, it doesn't actually look too bad. Definitely pretty pixely though. You can definitely see the pixels pretty well, but I'd say in terms of sort of the viewing angles and stuff, it's actually not that bad. And then the display itself, of course, does fold flat 180 degrees if you like. The hinge itself is pretty sturdy, and you know, that's really about it. So I'm not going to really go into too much more. There really isn't much more to say about this laptop. I would say, though, that when it comes to the performance, I am going to try some gaming on this because, again, this does have the Ryzen 5 4500U. Although, from what I understand, though, while this laptop does have 8 gigs of RAM, that RAM is just one stick, so it's single channel memory. That's going to hurt performance. But on the other hand, you know, it's only powering a 720p display, essentially. So I'm definitely going to try out this laptop, see how it does in gaming and all that good stuff. So anywho, thank you for watching my unboxing of the Acer Aspire 5.